We need a lot of training and capacity building on the tourism industry for Sukhothai. And for Sukhothai right now, and even in northern part, we have seen more and more tourists from China, and that would have some impact also on the responsive activity of the people in Thailand who are working in the tourism industry in here, because the group of the tourists of the nationality makes some difference also for the tourism plan. So whether we are following them or we just do something proactive and also give them some particular useful information for this. And I think this is really what I observed in the morning like this. So I'd like to start my messages just by what I learned in the morning. Thank you.
Would anyone like to, jump in? But to add on to Ajahn Yong today, just reminded me that yesterday when I arrived here, there's plenty of car parking and the registration sign at the back of the car, they're all Chinese. Because now the road they call R3A, I think, come directly from Kunming in Yunnan in South China, pass Lao and come to Thailand very easily. In Chiang Mai, you see plenty, of the Chinese tourists there coming independently. And also at the hotel, the Legendary Hotel, the manager just told me that about next week, I think, or book for the next month, a festival, the Loi Krathong, there will be another caravan come from Malaysia to here. So they're coming from both ways. Yes.
But I think, I don't know if this is more the topic of the second group, but let's just go on to it quickly now. I couldn't resist this. It would be very good to know really what the proportion of domestic tourism is here, because I still believe that the domestic tourism is the main thing here in Sukhothai, and at the Loi Krathong Festival we'll definitely see that, people coming from all over the country to do Loi Krathong here in Sukhothai. It's about 70%, yeah. So if we're going to start talking about site interpretation and all of that, should we not be doing it with that in mind? Because in fact, Thailand receives millions of overseas tourists every year. They don't necessarily come here, but they come to Thailand. And there are places in Thailand where, the spirit of the place has been completely lost, frankly, due to massive external tourism. So it would be good to configure the issue of its site interpretation with the domestic tourism also in mind, and maybe as the main tourist audience. Just
if I could just respond to that. And I come from a background I'm a very unusual ecomos person because I spent a career selling travel, and in the last 4 years started to try to take my knowledge of the business of travel and bring it into the conservation community. And I think that a starting point for planning simply has to be at a strategic level of what do you want as a community. Sustainable tourism is not just about sustaining the heritage, it's sustaining the economic vitality and maintaining authenticity and so forth. And I think what I found lacking most here these last couple of days is just a clear vision. And it's been difficult for our group, working on group number 3, to have any really meaningful, concrete recommendations because we feel like we don't know what the local people want. So I think, you start with the process of Sukhothai is so important to Thai culture. Everybody in the country knows about it. It's bound intensely to the culture. So you can make a very strong argument that you only develop tourism for local, domestic Thai people, and in incidental work for international. But international people can appreciate the culture as well, because the people who are coming here now are classic cultural tourists. The international crowd are people who are coming here because they've heard of the World Heritage Site. And so you could do something with both of them together, but whatever it is one does, you simply have to get some meaningful data and analysis on why are people coming today? What are their motivations? What pleases them? What displeases them? And then how can we get more of them? The challenge in marketing any travel product, including a destination, is to determine who are the people we want, what do we want them to do when they're here, and if we get the right people, they'll tell their friends and family, and they'll write positive things on TripAdvisor, and we'll get more of the people who are appropriate for this destination. And so for both tourism growth and heritage preservation, here we need, for both sides of it, we need to learn a lot more about the current customer, the current visitor, and what their aspirations are. So I have to kind of take that business approach of, intensive market research to find out what's the current situation. But so first it's, what do we want as a community? Secondly, what do we have now? And then we can go on to kind of growth and operations. So there's much more to say about this.
Okay, sorry. Again, I'd like to respond to both Tim and Randy. Well, I'm coming from a viewpoint of someone who understands Chinese and who gets in touch with Chinese media quite often. And I could foresee why there is a rise of tourism in Thailand. It's mainly because there is a lot more media attention on this country. For example, quite a while ago, a couple of years ago, or just around 1 year ago, there is a very popular Chinese movie about Thailand called Lost in Thailand. And it created this craze where Chinese visitors come to Bangkok or even to other parts of Thailand in large amounts as well. So there is a very strong connection between popular media and tourism in this part of the world. And I think a lot of our tourism office around in Southeast Asia are playing an active role in attracting tourism through mass media, through buying up commercials, documentaries, and also through movies such as the Chinese and the Indians. They are very good at making movies that promote tourism. So banking on all this glossy hype image of the country, so how do we actually manage our expectations and how do we actually showcase a positive or a representative view of your country when it comes over, rather than just shopping and rather than just run-of-the-mill tourism, bringing them into all these heritage sites and then just showing them, taking pictures and not actually telling them more about the site interpretation.
Going back to again, what Randy was saying and Tim was saying about knowing who you're planning for. One of the things we found out was that in terms of actively looking at the site rather than passively looking at it, say on bicycles or walking, the numbers are definitely not top. Our tour leader was really excited because he's been doing this for several years, and the 3 people on our committee that were from Thailand were the first Thai people he's ever had on his tour on riding bicycles, the very first ones. So it depends on what you're, if you're marketing that way, then that definitely frames how you're going to look at things that you're offering, because different nationalities want different things. And that we were actually quite surprised by that no Thai at all are interested in doing the bicycle tours at this point in time. They said it was too hot and it's too much work and they're going away. They don't want to work and do this. They want to relax. So that was his comment in terms of it. So it is important to know who you're planning for, because if you are going to plan for a large Thai population, you don't need to put money into bicycle tours. It's not the thing to do.
I want to go back to the comments that Mai made about cultural landscape as a construct. One of the things we did in the ICOMOS IFLA International Scientific Committee on Cultural Landscapes was look at the way in which ICOMOS guides experts in their review of World Heritage nominations for the missions, because there are many, many more missions now that are dealing with cultural landscapes. The listed cultural landscapes in 20 years, I believe I'm right to say that it's hovering around 90. So you have to realize that with that kind of, with how long it takes to bring a nomination to fruition, there was a pent-up demand in '92 when cultural landscapes began. Last year was the 20th anniversary. My entire career has been in cultural landscape work, so this is my base. One of the things that I wrote about in those guidelines, which were a product of our committee work, was the notion of the protective zone or the buffer zone and how we've treated it in the past and how we would treat it if we viewed it through a cultural landscape lens. So having toured with Group 1, we went beyond the protective zone. We went out to see the reservoir. That was one of our pictures, the reservoir. We saw the riversides. For Sukhothai, the water system would be a part of the heritage relationships. So the mountains, the reservoir, the system of the dams and the levels that is kept in the water system that comes all the way down next to the main Grand Buddha are all organized in this ancient water system that is a completely different layer on the landscape that gives people a sense of what the way in which cultural landscapes are defined, which is the combined works of humanity and nature. So humanity and nature working together create these things. And this kind of really elaborate and ancient irrigation system is something no one is talking about. So, you know, when you begin to say, okay, what are you going to interpret? If you said your theme was